one of the major questions I had to ask you was, like I said, there wasn't a lot of interviews that I could read to pull my sources from, so I had to go from like a bunch of different places and kind of piece little stuff together. And I know you said I got a couple of things wrong in the video.
Yeah, lie.
Yeah, so,
Well,
when
I mean, I'm gonna tell you straight, man. I'm gonna tell you, Roman. I'm gonna tell you straight from the source. I'm a more of an uncut guy because I tell people what happens because initially I want the journey for somebody to be able to work on a dream or have a dream and see it to fruition. That's all I had. And it's a hard thing for a lot of people to do. So I mean, I got a lot of story, man. I got a lot to say about comics, art, just being a human being, you know. I'm almost 50 years old. So it's like, I've been through a lot in the industry when it comes to the politics, working in all the industry, with comics, with production, with printing, with self-publishing, with drawing for Marvel, Image Comics, Sony, Condé Nast, some of the bigger platforms, because a lot of people don't understand, only because, just like you say, there's not a lot of information out there. And there wasn't a lot, and a lot of the publishers and stuff, they they keep a lot of stuff hush hush. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm just tell you like that. Sometimes when I start talking about how some of the things work behind the scenes, they kind of frown upon that. And I don't like that because my whole premise is give an artist the best platform he can to perform. Not the least, or definitely not something that will put him in a position where he's at a deficit. I don't care if it's about 1 day or 1 hour, because as an artist, you're supposed to be able to evolve yourself and be able to express yourself creatively to grow.
you should be.
And that's all.
For me,
That's all it's about.
the more I've learned about the comic industry, it seems like that's the thing that's probably most frowned upon. It's like expressing yourself and trying to grow as an artist. Everybody wants you to look like you did in that very first issue that you ever drew, and your publishers want you to keep your mouth shut, do what you're told, draw what you're told, and that's a big part of the reason that I started the channel, because I like to get behind the scenes. And I like to kind of pull the curtain back on that stuff.
We can talk about, man, we just two guys sitting down having a beer. We can talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about, bro. I don't, I tell what I experience. I don't know how to do that, the other thing, because, it's hard. It's like a lie. Okay, just give me an example. You have a Rolodex in your mind about a memory. It could be a good memory, bad memory, whatever. You put a lie in there, okay, 10 years, 20 years down the line, that lie morphs into different things. And people don't understand that, and I didn't really understand that, growing up. But consistent and truth always is consistent. I mean, people don't understand that, but it's like, I can't be an artist as an artist I was taught to be in my, to express myself if I don't express myself. And that's the whole deal. So I can talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. My thing is that, I believe the only thing you can really give someone is one of my mentors that wrote the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And he says the only thing you can really give somebody is inspiration. Inspire them to do something else. Because Bruce Lee, he says the only knowledge is true self-knowledge. You only have the knowledge within yourself, really. If you really have that knowledge, if a man don't know how to urinate, if you don't know how, he can't do it. It's gonna be his fans. But that comes from him. That comes from himself.
And that's the big thing that I want people to take away from this interview, and I wanted them to take away from the video, is inspiration. And I hope you got that, because I said that a couple of times throughout the video, because you really, really, man, like, your story, like, it hit hard, man. As a kid that grew up poor, I grew up, living in a van for a while, and then in a trailer. Like,
man, I've still done that. I've done that after I got a little money. I still was out there on the streets, man. I was homeless in Vegas with 4 kids. You know, I bought a Benz like 5 months earlier and wrecked it. I mean, you know, I've been to a lot, bro. So I can start wherever you want to start. We can talk about wherever you want to start.
Let's start off. Let's talk a little bit about I hear a lot of people tossing around like the term prison and jail and that kind of stuff, and that's really just kind of inconsequential to me.
I mean, it happened. Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so just kind of start off and kind of tell people, set the record straight, what happened.
Okay, this is what happened. First of all, in the beginning, I always loved to draw because I was picked on in school. I was small, you know. Two forms of art I've studied. Martial arts, which is Jeet Kune Do, under Sifu Tim Mata, under Richard Bustillo, under Bruce Lee. But that was my first love, only because I got my ass beat a lot. Okay, so I was a little geek. I'm a geek, man. So coming home from that, I would draw. But my whole family drew. My brother, Erik Gully, he was the best artist in the family. Okay, he was drawing and stuff like that. He's older than me. My other brother, Solo, he could draw. My dad could draw. And my sister could draw. And my mom drew a lot. And that's how I learned to evaluate and overcome some of the barriers I've had in art, because I learned from my mom how to draw. I said, Mom, how you do this and draw, at a young age. So take it to that point, I've always been a person who was either running around, jumping around stuff, because I used to run from kids a lot, because I got good at it, and martial arts. That came before I got into really wanting to draw, or be an artist as a profession or a source of income. So fast forward, I'm about 18, 19, and I'm working at Checkers. Long story short, I decided, me and my brother, we decided we're going to try to rob somebody. Now, I've never been really, I guess you want to say, a person who don't do stupid shit out of not being in a desperate situation. So we was in a desperate situation at the time. And it makes no excuses to it. This is what happened. So in Orlando, Florida, in downtown Church Street, in broad daylight, in the bathroom, I had a stun gun. Okay, we had a stun gun. I didn't want to hurt the person at the time. So we stunned the old man. Come to find out, we didn't know he was an old man because he was in the bathroom stall from the back. He was from the back. And I hit him and he fell. And I seen he was old. And I'm like, oh shit. Two things came to my mind. One thing is, what I look like, it happened like a movie. What I look like fucking with an old man. And two, what if you have a heart attack or something? So me and my brother left. We running down Church Street, okay, cops coming and stuff. And I went inside I jumped the fence, got my shirt all tore up and stuff, and I sat down. And at the time, it's like we had to rob or get some money or we ain't paying rent or nothing like that. It was just fucked up. So I basically waited for the cops to come. The cops picked me up. So this is county jail. Okay, so my charge was attempted armed robbery with a non-deadly weapon. So it's a stun gun. That's what happened. So I went in 33rd Street Jail in Orlando, Florida. It's not a prison. A lot of people don't understand the difference between prisons and county jails. County jail, you only stay there your max in Orlando at the time. It might have changed it now. It's a year. You only do a year in jail, in county jail. Anything above that is prison. So this is like, if you want to put it in the terms, jail or county jail is like independent comics. Prison is like Marvel, DC. Okay, that's how that was. So I'm in county. Second time being locked up. The first time I tried to steal a pair of Ed Jordan from Foot Locker. I was like 15. Okay, stupid shit. All right. So second time I'm in there. And I'm in a jail cell and everything. I'm trying to evaluate what I've done with my life and everything, because at this point, I knew that everything that I came and understood as a person, as a man, got me incarcerated. And that was a very eye-opening experience for me, because I thought I was better than that, and I wasn't. you know, all the talents I had and whatever I've done in my life got me locked up. So I'm looking at the jail cell, I'm looking out. You know, and I see ants coming in. Cause you know, you look in the jail, you looking outside, you see the cars, and you know, all that stuff look like it's a movie now because you know, it's like I'm inside, I'm locked up. I gotta go to sleep and wake up in this motherfucker. So ant came in, you know, and I thought to myself, man, that ant can come in and go out. It's an ant. It got a brain that it's a brain just like an atom compared to my brain in mass. I'm looking at this ant. I said, man, I give anything in my life to be this motherfucking ant. So at the same time, I had a cellie from Atlanta. We call him Bulletproof. You know, he draw tags and stuff a lot. He got shot like, it was like, he said like 13 times. He had a lot of stitches and stuff in him, but you know, he was my cellie. I admired him. You know, he's kind of young like I was. And you know, we sketching around and stuff like that. He said, why don't you draw about that ant? Why don't you make a comic book? So that's what I did. I ordered commissary. I got better in jail because I needed to eat. Nobody's outside giving me money. My mom died at 14, and my dad was in Louisville, Kentucky, where I reside now. So I was by myself, you know, and I'm this kid and taking into consideration, I've been bullied all my life up to that point. And I'm in county jail with these, you know what I'm saying, with these gorilla looking niggas. And I'm like, oh, you know, I was like, what's going to happen to me? I started drawing the envelopes. First, I started drawing the envelopes, roses and stuff, like everybody do. And then I started getting hot. I started drawing chicks and started drawing portraits and stuff. So I'm hot in the cell. People coming to me, even CEOs coming to me, having me drawing portraits for Miami Dolphins. So, you know, when I started something, I'm not trying to take no prisoners at the time because I had to eat, you know. And after that, I decided, okay, I'm gonna order this tablet on commissary. I'm gonna make a book called Ant. Ant originally was about, I had this chick. Everything I've taken to perspective, I'm a big fan of Todd McFarlane, Greg Capullo, Mark Silvestri, Dave Finch. You know, I'm a big fan of those guys. And I read most of everything they've talked about. I've studied them up to that point. I was in jail and I didn't have any reference. I called my brother in Kentucky. I said, Derek, please send me some comic books, man. If you can, please send me some comic books, please. I need some reference to, you know, because I haven't drew in a while. He sent me 3 books. Joe Benitez, Weapon Zero, 2 J. Scott Campbell, Gen 13s. And that's why you look at the future. When I got the book, after the book, you know, got published and everything, I got 2 J. Scott Campbell covers. I even got the tattoo on my arm with J. Scott Campbell. I love J. Scott Campbell, okay? So I got those books and I found the address to how to submit the comics. So what I did was, Ant was about, she was white. Her name was Tammy. She was a science experiment and she had a barcode on her ass. I did that back then. You're talking about this is 90-something. I came up with that idea because I wanted to be original in that time. You know, I know it's a different cut, but fast forward to why I got Ant published, that's another story.
So I got one real quick question. I know you've talked about that original version of Ant being an actual, like you did a full-on issue just on spec while you were in there.
Yeah.
And the interviews that I read, you said that you had still had that. Do you still have that original Ant stuff from the
I got it in there.
man?
It's in there somewhere. Yeah, man, I've moved a lot. You know, I've been in different situations where I've had books in my garage and got evicted, and they took all the books out and threw them away. I've been in a situation like that. I've been in a situation when I wrecked my car, had books in the back, books I can never replace. Yeah, but I got that somewhere in there. If it ain't in there, I need to go get it.
For me, that's like historically important because like that's a big part of your story, and that's a big part of like the inspirational thing for me is you just sat down and made that, man. Like
I did in high school too. Let me give you an example. Because when I was younger, me and my brothers used to compete in making paper dolls. Okay, we sit down, we draw spot. I mean, it got weird. It got to a spot where we drew everything we think of. I first started with Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man, I cut him out. I put contact paper on him, front and back. You know, I'll take some tin foil, put clothes on him with tin foil, and put the red marker on it so it'll shine. Man, we did that stuff to the extreme. I mean, I got Michael Keaton Batmobile. I made a Batmobile out of a cereal box. Okay, I mean, I got glass in it from the Coca-Cola 2-liter. Cut the glass out, put the glass in it with tape. I mean, we did all that to the point, man, we was in our 20s doing that stuff. And we had a thing called fluke. Like if you draw Batman or something and his face don't really look like he's supposed to do, they'll start laughing stuff, call him a fluke. Now you can have him and everything, he can look good, but he's not like Batman. Like when you go to the toy store, back in them days, you go to the toy store, man, we had $6 Million Man, you know, stuff like that. And we looked at them, sometimes their paint scope wasn't right. They'll have something off, and we go, no, we can't get that. You can't. So we were like that all up to the point. I'm like that now in my art. I try to make it look like that toy you would buy when you're going to and picking it up. He can't look like he ain't Spider-Man. His eyes can't be off, and the black's got to be right. If it's not, he don't like Spider-Man. He looks like a fluke or a cheap version of Spider-Man. So I learned that from making paper dolls. Now, coming up to answer your question, when I first started to draw, I was in grade school and high school. I was always inventing characters. I had a friend named Calvin Benjamin lived next door. Me and Calvin grew up drawing and almost competing, but in a friendly competition. And we'd fill those 100-page binders up with different characters. Different. Always had different characters. When I did Ant was a byproduct because at that time I knew that, okay, she's hot. I designed something that I think that would be marketable and had some kind of lasting value. Because when I was in jail, I found out if a cop was going to look at a car that's speeding, the red car would catch his eye. That's what I was told. So I made Ant body red to put on the shelf. You put Ant on a red chick walking around, because my idea was I want this red chick with milling in the skin like an ant. And over the years, the color got different, just like Stan Lee was talking about the Hulk. Hulk was supposed to be green at first, but the colorists in there had different representation. Couldn't really get it right. He said, just make it gray. That's what I did with Ant. Ant had black fingernails that would fade up to the point, and her body was almost translucent, but in a nice, the micronauts? Okay, I love the micronauts. Okay, when I seen the micronauts and they hit them hands, and the body looked like candy to me. So I wanted Ant to look like that. Make it red like that with fade. Well, everybody ain't Peter Stingerwald at Top Cap. Okay, everybody ain't Brian Haverly, So I would, and shout out to Dan Kemp. Everybody ain't artists like that or colorists like that. So, and they kept having different representations. Plus, on top of that, I was actively trying to get people to submit stuff to me so I could put in their books. I got published from Image Comics by doing free pinups. I'll tell you that story too. Okay, so rewind. After I invented it, I seen submission guidelines in Top Cow. I think it was either Top Cow or at a point, Image Central came out. I know a lot of people don't know the difference. You got Image Central, which is Central Hub, and you got Todd McFarlane Studio. Then the boys got their studios. Erik Larsen got his thing. Todd McFarlane got his thing. Robert Kirkman got his thing. That's all that is. So, and Top Cow had their thing, but Top Cow was hot back then. From that point, I started sending out submissions. Now I sent out submissions and artwork for 10 years. 10 years, pretty much consistently. I won contest. After a while, I started to get confidence because every time I used to, because growing up as an artist, everybody I talked to didn't know how you do it, what hand do you use, and why you can't use the right and left hand, like I tell people now. What medium to draw in. They didn't know. They would tell me about this thing called talent. I'd be like, what's talent? How can you quantify talent? Where does it come? Where does it go? And you keep telling me some people have it, God gave some people talent, some people know. How do you know which ones he gave it to and which one he did? You know? So I had to figure it out for myself. And I'm like, I don't know what talent is. I know what developing a skill set is. You know, I should teach people to draw in school. You take, just go one circle at a time. You just slow your ass down, you can do it. Just if you can write your name, you can draw. People don't realize that. They don't realize that. But I was, and that's how I learned to develop my skill over the time. So I'm sending out these submissions. And, I'm getting the same thing from everybody. Working your craft, kids, you got a long way to go. And I was horrible back then. I kept doing it. Work on it. I get some things back in Wizard Magazine back in the days, I had Wizard Magazine. Sometimes I crack some open, they have some submissions in there. Sometimes they didn't. I was sending it to them. I was getting rejection from them. So after that point, there was in Orlando, Florida, they got the Coliseum of Comics. Coliseum of Comics is held by Brandon Boyle. Okay, Brandon and his brother. They had a DC Superman contest. You had to draw 2 pages. And they had 3 editors coming down, 3 editors from DC would grade your art. And the contest win, I think you got $100, something like that. So I penciled in 3 Superman pages. And I won. Karen, I can't remember her name, it wasn't Karen Herbert, because I know a lot of Karens now, but it was one of their editors was Karen and had a couple of editors. Tom Brevoort could have been one, I don't know. I won that, and that gave me that little bit of oomph. And that I won unanimously. On top of that, I gave him 3 pages. A lot of people didn't even finish it on time. After I won that, me and Coliseum got pretty close. So I was going in there and stuff. And Coliseum said, Brendan said, what you need to do, you need to go to, come to MegaCon and talk to Anthony Bosley. He's doing a panel, and he's a marketing director at Image Comics. At that time, MegaCon wasn't even at the convention center. MegaCon was in a hotel off of Colonial Drive. So I got me and my girlfriend, my ex-wife now, driving. The car broke down on the way there. We put the car in the street to try to get to MegaCon. So I finally got to MegaCon. Brandon got me in and stuff. And Anthony Bosley's on stage. I almost interrupted the man on stage. I'm trying to get it. He's talking to the time. He gave me his card. Said, hey, yeah, Brandon told me about you. About you pretty good. And you won a DC contest, I think, this and that and another. So I sent him at least 4 to 3 pages a week for like 6 months, about 6 or 7 months, constantly, different pages. I would draw Spawn, blah, 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 I would draw all kind of stuff. At the same time that was happening, before I really got my foot in the door, I got a little bit bolder in that area because at that time, Todd McFarlane put out Talent Search in the Spawn. I think it was in Spawn 65, 66, or 67. I was on a bus got from Coliseum. I got the book, I said, they're going to call me. They're going to call me. So what I did, I went home and I drew 3 crease pages. I drew 3 crease pages, sent them in. I was working on some Spawn pages, but what I did was I totally ate Greg Capullo. I totally ate the whole page. But it was so good that Todd thought that I like box the page. I like boxing. Bo Smith called me and said, hey, we called you. I was in martial art class at the time. And they called me, I was in class. I didn't know. I came home and my wife said, McFarlane Studios called you. Man, I didn't sleep for a week. They didn't call me. He didn't call me back he didn't call me back because he said he had either vacation or something was going on. I had to runs and stuff. I couldn't sleep for a week. I was so excited. And then after that situation, I even tell you how that happened. He said out of the thousands of submissions they had, he said there was two guys that they was looking at. There was me and Nat Jones. Okay, I found out later Nat Jones got Dark Age of Spawn, and I was doing Capullo stuff. I was doing I was just aping them, man. I was aping them too much, really. But it built me up because Tom McFarlane Productions is one of my favorite studios still to this day. And to breaking that door, because I knew Tom was hard, to breaking that door gave me real confidence. Oh, they called me after all these people because I know everybody submitted to that, and it gave me confidence. So when I met Anthony Bozzi, I kept submitting stuff to him, and one day he called me. I would call him too. I'll call him like once a week. Hey, I just want to know you got anything, my name is Mario Gully. I sent some work in. I want you to know, I'm very eager, and do you have anything for me? I don't care what it is, I'll draw it. I'll turn around early, just let me know, blah, blah, blah. I kept doing that. About 6 or 7 months consistently. And then one day when I called him, he's like, look, you're just too consistent. I'm gonna have to do something with you. We have to do something with you. I said, okay. So he said, every now and then he would give me pinups, free pinups to do on back of books. Bottom Messiahs. Back then I had a book called Area 52. I did Area 50, man, I did 2 of them. And one of my Bottom Messiahs pinups got picked in the article in Wizard. It's a pinup now, I did with the gun. He's hanging over with the gun over the tombstone. And that got me kind of, I ain't gonna say fame, but it kind of worked out to my popularity because, Tone Rodriguez was killing. I love Tone. Tone was killing Bottom Messiahs. And for them to take a pin up that I did for free and put in the Wizards, I was like happy. IT called me up. So you had some good news. But not only that, then Anthony would fly me to conventions. And I was an image roadie for about a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe a little bit more. The time frame is different because I'm still a roadie as I go places and do shit. I would go to, he said, go to those portfolio reviews, go to every one of them. I go to portfolio reviews, I'll go to San Diego, get the raffle tickets, stand in line to Marvel. And then after a while, because I got the badge of image, that gave me carte blanche after the show was over. We go back to the hotels, or we at the bars. I'm talking to the guys and showing them my work, and I built relationships with Scott Eden. Scott Eden told me so much. Brian Haberman, I used to call Brian on the phone and just bug. Brian, what about that? A lot of artists like that, a lot of people. After that happened, at the same time, now you're going to a spot where Ant is about to get published. At that time, I was in a religious cult too. Okay, it's called OCC at the time. They're international. They're in the news and all kind of stuff. Okay, I was in a religious cult, and after that religious cult, I joined another. And it's crazy. And he was my best friend at the time. Okay, but he became very rich, very wealthy. And I took over that ministry, took over his spot. And then after a while, I realized it was a cult and stuff. Me and my wife was like, basically, we got to go. We got to flee. It got bad. So at that same time, his name is Trent Ling. He brought the hydroplane franchise at one time. He's my friend now. We're still friends, but that was the past, and it was pretty steep. So Trent picked me up one day and asked me what I want to do with my life. I told him I want to draw comic books and everything. He asked me how much it's going to cost for you to draw the thing out and how much it's going to cost to pay your bills for a month. I lived in a 1-bedroom with my wife. It wasn't that much back then. I had no car, stuff like that. So we sat down and wrote it out, went to the bank, got me a check. Later in that process, I was able to draw out 22-page Ant #1. That's Ant 1 Days Like These from Arcana Comics. I drew it all up, got a color and everything, okay? And my Sifu in martial arts, which is Tim Otter. That's another story. Because I'm a martial artist first before I became an artist, comic book artist, technically, because When after I got a gold medal in Walt Disney Wild Water Sports, full contact, 6 weeks in. I think it was 6 weeks. I'm nuts with it. So it's like Seafood my best friend. I mean, and I'm number one under, Chief Monroe at the school. And school's in Altamont Springs, Florida. And Seafood is the heavyweight extremer collie stick fighting champion of Florida. So, me and him became tight. I'm practicing all the time. I'm teaching class and stuff too. And one time we was on a mat, we doing jiu-jitsu, and I gave my wife because Bo Smith called me from Todd McFarlane Productions. He was a marketing director for Todd McFarlane's production back then. Bo called me. And then Bo called me when I was in class one time, because I gave him my number just in case I miss him again. He called me in class, and my Seafood answered the phone. So I have a problem. I have a technical problem. I know I'm talking a lot. I got to tell you the whole story. I'm having a technical problem because my Seafood answered the phone, and that's a task for me to do. So back in the days, it was like, Mario, you was really that good to be published right now. And that was a hard thing for him to tell me back then, but it was true. So at that time, I even, it's one of those things where Seafood would give me a task, I have to fulfill the task. So I got published, and because the total rejection was Ant and Spawn, because Todd McFarlane Productions called me. Okay, the best people there is Greg Capullo and Todd. Okay, I don't know what else to say. To me, that's it. And then, so I had to prove to him I can get in that company and fill that task. And that never came to fruition until Erik Larsen signed me with Image, and I got Spawn in issue number 3. I'll tell you how that happened. So, another shop. And now I'm trying to break in. I got Ant all covered, colored and everything, 22 pages on file. Brian Haberlin doing the colors, because Brian's my publisher. He's one of those guys I bug all the time. And I knew Tim Townsend, because my Seafood went to school with Tim Townsend. You said Tim, I said, Tim Townsend? Okay. So I hooked up with Tim Townsend at MegaCon one time. We talked to exchange number. To me, it looked like boss work back then. Tim was handsome, got a nice wife and everything. Tim cool as fuck. Okay. I said, Tim, I need Campbell to do some covers for me. Back then, like, oh, no, but that, and that's when he dropped the Spider-Man. I love the Spider-Man. So I'm like, yeah, I need those. So we got 2 covers. We got one, because I had to have the smoking gun looking one. That's how I got this one. It's like the smoking gun. I said, I had to have that. And then I wanted him to do something Spider-Man-ish. And he did that other cover. Now, I knew back then, because I couldn't draw that good. If I got Jason Campbell to draw Ant, I can make my Ant look like his. So it'll pop better. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Well, going back to now, I'm in Indiana. I'm sorry, go back. I left Florida from the coast. I drove to Kentucky to be in some sanctuary with my dad. I think I got 2 kids, maybe 3. I got 4 total, but I got 3 in a bedroom with my wife. I'm drawing on the floor, Ant issue 2, days like these. I send my stuff out to everybody, Marvel, everybody. All of them, of course, turn me down flat. I got tired of sending stuff to people, for real. Covers and stuff and everything. Then, from digital webbing, the website, digital webbing, in the forum, they had a company called ICE. ICE was coming out. They had this thing they wanted to do with diamond distributors, because diamond was expensive, and they wanted to get placement in the front. They get different artists to contribute, and they publish a book. They said, we love Ant, we'll do it, but we're going to do it in black and white. I'm like, oh yeah, over the ghost of negotiations, even to get to that point, they sent me an email with a contract. Back then, thinking about contract, not a contract. The day I'm like, okay, I got to do it. Somebody gonna publish it. It's issue 1 now. And then I got an email from Sean O'Reilly that same day. He said, don't sign nothing. I hope you didn't sign with nobody. Whatever you can do, I can double it. I'm like, I look up Sean O'Reilly's computer. He did Cade and Ezra And he's in Canada. I'm like, yes, somebody got me, somebody good. Okay. John put Ant Issue 1 out. We put Ant Issue 1 out. It sold out in 9 days. We had a small placement sub, but it got premiere shots. But at the same time, I was always wanted to be with Image. I had this love affair between Sean O'Reilly and Image Comics. I couldn't help it because I loved Image. You know, Tom McFarlane's Spider-Man and Spawn blew my mind. After that, to be honest with you, Greg Capullo just took over my life. When Greg was drawing Spawn and Greg drawing Crease at the same time, I almost lost my mind. So that's the whole, I mean, I love a lot of artists. You know, like I said, Dave Finch is real up. He's up there for me. You know, Tom McFarlane up there for me. But Greg Capullo, nah. When Greg get mad, nah. Because I just trace Greg. Because I mean, and back, you know, the hard balance is between detail, open spaces for your word balloons, but the storytelling. And when, you know, Image was, when I was under the Anthony Bosley, you know, he would say, man, read Scott McCloud. Pick up Scott McCloud. We understand in Congress for Scott McCloud. Pick up George Bridgman. Pick up George Bridgman. You know, you read my Bible. You know, he would always do that. And I read everything. And, you know, the storytelling element of his art in conjunction with his intensity is what attracted me. And I mean, you know, Ray called me Capullo called me the booty man one time on Twitter. I'm like, yeah, I got a comic man. I'm going to tattoo that on my chest. I love Greg stuff, man. He's just unstoppable. But I was doing that. So when that came out, it's a bona fide hit at the time Ant 3 to 4 came out. And we're at the we're at the retailer summit. We had a retailer summit, and I'm sending books to Image. Okay. Now you might want to cut a little bit. I'm gonna tell you what happened with Image. Okay. First of all, when I was sending stuff I sending stuff to Image all my life. I started sending stuff to Image in jail. You know, for the Weapon Zero, I got the address. I put 5 pages in there. I still got them in there somewhere. I drew 5 pages on a little 8.5 by 11 paper and sent them in. All the way to the point I'm sending Ann in. Jim Valentino did not like my work. Me and Jim were going back and forth. I got the first email from Image. It was really intense at that time. You know, I had AOL account. You got mail. Jim Valentino at Image. You know, good kid, work on your craft, something like that, blah, 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 blah. I kept going, sending stuff to him. After like the 5th time, you know, I actually call him. As I get him, I call him on the phone. I would call him up. Hey, got you, Jim, who's this? It's Mario. You know, I do that. It's like chasing a chick. If I like a girl enough, I'm gonna chase her. I'm gonna send flowers to her house and headcam. You gonna know I'm chasing you. And Jim got on the phone with me. He said, you know, no, this might not have been on the phone. It might have been email. I can't remember. But he said, I don't believe I can get a retailer to order a book called Ant. And he said, why you make a booty that way? It's just stuff like that. We got into it a little bit, blah, 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 over the years, but he didn't like me. So they had a situation coming at Image Comics that I knew that Jim was getting out and Erik Larsen was moving up to the Hammer Publishing. You want to know how that happened? I'll tell you how that happened. But that happened. So I knew the dirt on that. So I said, yeah, I got him now because I knew from the industry that Erik Larsen was a straight shooter. Some artists like to be liked. And they'll tell you stuff, you meet them at conventions, they'll tell you everything beautiful. You send submission stuff in, they throw the stuff in the trash can behind your back. I've seen that happen more than 1 billion times. And then some artists really take your stuff and, you know, try to help you and do that type of thing. But, you know, Erik was a straight shooter. So I was sending stuff to Erik. And finally I broke down and stuff, kept sending stuff to Erik. And I got him on the phone. And I'm like, hey, this is before I drew Ant 1 in Image Comics. I'm like, Erik, please, man, you know, I can come through. If you don't think I'm that good, if you don't think I'm good enough, I'll go rise above it, I'm telling you. Erik said, oh, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'm like, yeah, I gave it a shot. And then, you know, I started working on the business aspects of it then. You know, I thought it was important for me to take and put her with some image characters because I wanted her notoriety to increase, at least by 5 to 10%. So I asked him about Savage Dragon and stuff, and I said, you think I can get Spawn? He said he'll let me know. I don't know how long went by, but it came back to the time, I said, yeah, I can get Spawn. So we put Spawn in issue number 3. And number 1 sold out and stuff, that, this and that and the other. And on top of that, at that time, it was very difficult for a newcomer to sell over 10,000 copies. Or 10,000, well, just 10 to 15,000 they had listening with them. And the orders came 15,000 copies. And man, I called Erik. I always called him about something. They barely don't call you unless you owe them some money or something. But I called Erik and talked to him about it. He said, you heard the numbers? I said, no. He said, we're running on 15,000 copies. Man, I broke down crying, bro. I broke down crying. Because, you know, at that time, the books was hard. It was like, you know, we had Invincible, Walking Dead, Ant, Spawn, like the top 5 back then. That's before Robert Kirkman started writing them Marvel real good. We had the same, he had the same plan. We all pretty much had the same type of plan format. That's why when I started drawing, to get out of that demographic or being pigeonholed, I jumped to Marvel and jumped to, you know, and made sure that I knew and I could let everybody know that I could draw for all these art forms. I won't be held down to this one character because, you know, like Jay-Z said, I make records, I don't make hits, you know? So I had that philosophy, you know, and it worked out for, you know, to a certain degree, but that's how that happened.
So can you talk a little bit about like, because kind of the feeling I get like just talking to you and that I had from doing research was that the big reason you moved from Arcana was basically just because you really wanted to be with Image. Like
basically, I had a love affair, man. You know, looking back, I don't know if I regret it, but I do, because Sean O'Reilly is a hell of a person, but I could not really help it because I had such a love affair with Image Comics. I always wanted Image. I don't care if, you know, it wasn't about, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like when you break in at Marvel. I wanted to break in at Marvel. I wanted to be an artist that broke in at Marvel. And I wanted that on my mind, in my essence. So, you know, I didn't really want to leave, but I wanted to leave. Because at the same time, Arcana is getting a little bit of notoriety, and it's with their main titles. And Todd McFarlane and Image Comics is going through cases in court. Sean O'Reilly got Ken Levin to represent Arcana. He represented Mike Mignola and got Hellboy, and okay, he's building the case against Todd McFarlane in the hockey state, in the hockey card. He don't like, I mean, I ain't gonna say he don't like Todd, but, you know, he's on the other team. Now, we're at San Diego, and Ken Levin took Ant to Paramount. I think it was a Paramount or it was one of those studios. I think it was Paramount or New Line, one of them. And Ken Levin, they wanted a closure because we only had issue 3 back then. And they wanted closure. And everybody back then thought they'd get an option of a movie, and everybody beat gazillionaires and fly home. Okay. So back then, everybody wanted options for movies. And I wanted one too. And Ken Levin he's the one that came up with the idea. Look, this is what you should do. I'm telling you, Mario, that's what you should do. You should end it with Ant. And she's in a mental institution. And they see the air spray because we need to make her to a plausible real situation for the studios to buy it. So that's the reason that happens. And that's the only reason.
That answers another huge question I had because, like, the thing that I think I like the most about Ant is the originality. I mean, your art is absolutely amazing, but like, I have read tens of that, probably maybe over 100,000 comics at this point because I'm
Oh man, that's a great compliment, man. I gotta.
well, dude, I'm serious, man, because the book it's not about it's a superhero book, but it's not about a superhero.
I'm gonna tell you how that happened. Exactly how that happened. Okay. First, it was a science experiment I made, and it was kind of like uh, just a regular stereotypical science experiment superhero shit. Now, when I was in the cult and I got the money and stuff for it, I was a little bit more mature. I think it was like 23, I think. And that's mature, right? And I said, I got to upgrade this stuff because by the time I get this published, that scientific shit ain't gonna be going on, and I'm gonna give it make it more original. So I designed the main character after my daughter. She was born in 2000. So I said to myself, at least if something happened to me, something happened to my black ass, I have something left that that I've been here on this planet, and my daughter was in it. And I gave something to my kid just in case. And I created a story about Ant. It's a story about a little girl who wants to be a superhero when she grew up. Because I wanted to be a comic book artist when I grew up. And everybody told me I couldn't do that either. That's how that was. It's almost if you want to say a pseudo autobiography, illustrative autobiography. It's kind of not, but it's like this is somebody who wanted to live their dreams. And she is in a worse position to live it. You see some kid somewhere wanting to be a superhero. That's monumental. That's like me in high school, man. I was an SOD in school. I ain't getting no chick. I got pills on my face, being beat up. I'm a skinny kid. I want to be a comic book artist. I want to be one of those guys that sits at a show. I'm drawn. They come up for my autographs. That's how that came about. And I knew that story would be everlasting. I never wanted to change it. How it changed, the first time with Ken Levin, the second time with Erik Larsen, period. Erik Larsen said, I can't put Ant in the same stable as Savage Dragon, Spawn, Shadowhawk, Invincible if she's in an imagination. Myself, I thought that was football. That's what you mean. Erik, these characters ain't real anyway. What you talking about? I want the original first Ant #1 from Image Comics was Ant. It's going to be Hannah in school, picked up an Image comic book, and wrote in her journey, Ant being with Spawn in there. That's how that's going to go.
That would have been so much better and stayed.
I know, man. I know.
Story, dude.
I know.
That was my big question. Was like, I wondered if Erik was the one who had really kind of pushed that because
that's it. Ain't no really nothing. Erik said basically, look, you want to be at Image, you need to roll this way. So I ruled that way. I knew it was a bad idea. I knew it was because, like, when I invented Ant, Ant ain't about I'll come see you, I'll get you next week, Joker, nothing like that. You fight Ant, you gonna get fucked up. It's an ant. I mean, think about it. You know how strong these things are? Okay. So Ant would never talk. I was still a very big fan of the first Pink Panther cartoons. Pink Panther. Okay, Pink Panther didn't talk. And I just buy that toy with the wire in it. I love that Pink Panther toy. All solid color. Okay, that's where I got kind of Ant from. Solid, because in Jeet Kune Do, Bruce's representation is the less you have, the more deadly you are. That's why he came up with the tracksuit in Jeet Kune Do. He came up with the black one, and he came up with the yellow one, and it was stripes. Now, it was comic stuff, and Rob Liefeld was back then. They were doing more guns, more pouches. Well, I knew that philosophy didn't coincide with real combat, so I made Ant as slick as I could. I made her when I first made her, she didn't have no eyes at all. She had these lines right here on her face, and I think she had like 2 slits. That was it. Because she's the guy one job to kick your ass when she come out. That's all she doing. She ain't doing nothing else. And all the enemies about her, they either want to fight her, to defeat her, or the fucker. So that's what that was about. And I could pull that story out and go into, you know, having a situation where somebody's growing up with difficulty. Something they can resonate with. You know, I don't even consider myself a black artist or anything like that. I'm an artist. I don't put black or, to me, that's just as dumb as somebody saying, oh, white art or white Spider-Man or something. It's just, to me, that's ridiculous. So I wanted to progress it that way and do it in a way that people thought when they read something, I might be able to do something like this too. It's hard to be Superman and pull off, you can think you can do that. Of course he got Lois Lane. You know what I'm saying? He's Superman. Shit. He could pick up a bus and water when he was in high school.
And I also really like the fact that you point out that you see yourself as an artist and not a black artist, because it's like this huge thing going on with comics right now where everybody's talking about like diversity and this or that. And
you know what the problem is? And it's funny because I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna say it on tape because it's real. I do my own contracts right now. Right now I get $800 a page. Okay. $800 a page from Rich Manning. And over the years, they even told me, I mean, you know, Marvel started you. I'm gonna let you know. Marvel started me off high. Marvel started me off at $150 a page. Okay, it's one pencil page. And now I've never, like, it's funny because people always kept hush-hush about how much you made, or if you can be an artist and an accountant, or if you can do this or that. It's ludicrous to me, or in different styles. Like, you know, my style has increased exponentially over the years. You can't look at my art. There's nobody gonna be able to look at my art now, you know, at 48 years old, and compare to my art when I was drawing anything. You can put ants, you can put the Dirty Bones, you can put the stuff I did at Marvel. You can, I look better now. I don't believe in decreasing. Why are you going? How you going to decrease and grow? It's impossible. Bruce Lee said if you stop in one area, you start cutting back in one area, they'll bleed over into your personal life and into different areas. And I've had that happen so many times. I've had stuff bleeding and stuff and fucks up so many times. I got tired of doing it. And the art world in itself, you know, a lot of people don't know that Charles Darwin was mystified by the eye. Okay, and he's a father of a lot of people's educational construct matrix. And he said he didn't know how it worked. So you got these people coming up to me, these editors from Marvel, 25 years old, talking about what they see. Okay, to me that's a no-no. You got to express what you got. You know, a boxer knows how to box. A referee might not. I'm just leaving it at that. That's just a true statement of it. So I was trying to conform and also tell these people, look, I can draw portraits, pretty woman, people looked different in every face, big body, big booty, fat woman, old woman. What difference does it make? It's art. And at the same time, the art community in itself, you're talking about when you got teachers or talent scouts or people like that, 80 to 90% of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. And that's just the truth. I'll tell anybody that. You know, you can teach people how to draw. People don't know it's a talent. Everybody on earth is born with a rudimentary talents. A genius wrote that. Named Wallace Wallace. Okay, everything is the difference between talent, okay, and developed skill. You can have a man that eats hot dogs. All he do is eat hot dogs. I might eat hot dog once every 6 months. I'm gonna tell him how he gonna eat hot dog. He eat hot dogs every day. It's the same principle. So that's one of the main things, especially in the comic industry, that destroys the comic industry. Number one, they downgrade different types of art when they don't know what they're talking about. I can take it deeper than that. I'll take it deeper than that. It's even like the people who value art or sell art. Now, if people know economics, there's only less than 12% of people in the United States got physical wealth, 4%. Okay, everything else is taxes. Okay, you got debt. Okay, and you got federal notes. A lot of people don't know that. So even the man telling even a guy that's selling art, he can sell he can say a J. Scott Campbell page. Say he's selling it. Okay, and he got debt, and he got fiat currency, which is, if people know what fiat currency is, that's a dollar bill of federal notes. Oh, and he got I don't know, an idea of, hey, this page is worth this much. Technically, he don't really know. You don't work for the Federal Reserve. You don't even really know what you're talking about. Versus a guy that, to be honest, versus a guy that has the wealth to protect it and also has currency that's a hedge of protection against inflation. It's like, you know, I know this is off example, but like talking about the 90s style art. People in the 90s were drawing hard back then. They were drawing hard. Now, so they don't. And instead of taking that idea and giving it value, they lie about it. They say they don't like the style, blah, 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 blah. I can't do this no more. It's a heyday, blah, blah, blah. You know why it's a heyday? Because they lied to people about comic books. Instead of telling them people, look, this is rare. This is going to be worth something. This may not be so. It took advantage of it. And a lot of people. When you a lot of people in the market, what happens? People talking about they ain't buying books no more. You tell that to the publisher of Harry Potter. They ain't got a word in it. Ain't got no pitch in it. People talking about people different. Every form of entertainment has a platform on this planet. There's enough for everybody. There's enough for every comic book artist out there to be making $800 a page. But the problem is people's idea and their perception of something, and it gets around like a little circle. They keep talking about it. That's why they say stuff that doesn't make any sense. You know, learn the rules, first you learn the rules. But people say that stuff so much, they don't even know what you're talking about. You know, work on this or draw from life. They don't even know what you're talking about. They say it so much. I've seen them happen. I've seen editors at Marvel, work at Marvel, telling people what to do. Okay, and if something happens, they lose their job, they downslide, got bought by Disney or something, and they work in a warehouse. That's just where it is. Or, you know, you can't take that same art knowledge you got from somebody who's giving you a job to go to a university around here, or to talk to somebody like I did, was Walt Disney's predecessor, you know, and be proven by them. You're not an artist. You know, you're just a guy with a job. I can pretend real good that I know how to be a cop. Put me in the gun, put me in a situation, and me fill out some paperwork. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I ain't no cop. I can play one, I can draw one. But there's a difference between somebody go to the academy and been a cop for 20 years. There's somebody put on a uniform and one out there talking about getting in the car, talking about what it look like. And that's art in itself.
I totally agree with you. I think like we're seeing a big paradigm shift in the industry, and a lot of people are talking about, you know, comic books dying and this and that, which to me is just a bunch of BS. And the big thing that I point to that disproves all of that for me is stuff like Kickstarter. When you see guys that are just out there funding their own stuff and doing their own thing, and you can tell, like, hey, no, there is an audience. You just need to find your audience. There is something out there for everyone.
It is, and there's enough. I mean, I am so unbelievably grateful, even for my life and my career, because, I mean, if you call it that, I just call it what I do, because I haven't published that many books. You know, in the scheme of things, most of my stuff I did at Marvel per book, most people don't know what that is. I did some, you know, treasure. They put me on small things. You know, Treasure Island, Kidnapped, you know, Iron Man Encyclopedia, you know, Exile, stuff like that. You know, I need to grab it. If I ain't grabbing the first 3 top characters, I'm frustrated. Because that's just the way I think. It ain't got nothing to do with ego and everything. But I think about a good ass Spider-Man and a good Spawn stuff every time. I told Todd one time I draw Spawn for free. Make it hard. Don't make it something that people look at and put it down, don't think about it. People still picking up Spawn, thinking about Todd McFarlane and Greg Capullo. I love Angel Medina. I love all kind of artists in between. But, you know, I mean, to me, unless you on it, man, you need a rocket. And that's some of the problems with comics. I mean, that's some of the problems I'm hearing from people have with art. How you gonna have art and stuff that come out that's not comparable with something that was 4 or 5 years ago? To me, that's not progress.
The big thing I'm happy about seeing Ant back is that I hear your name tossed around more. I love Erik Larsen is one of those guys that
I love him too.
I always am throwing out his name because like I see people talking about Todd McFarlane all day and all night. Spawn's got 300 plus issues, and I'm like, and when was the last issue of Spawn that Todd drew?
Right.
Larsen has been out there pounding, and you can say what you want about the book, you can like it or you can not like it or whatever, but that cat's got like 260 issues of his book by him under his belt. I respect that cat's hustle.
And see, that's the bad thing about Image Comics because of this. You got the main founders, the powerhouses, not doing their powerhouse moves. Okay? If you're playing football or something, you're a star quarterback, you need a quarterback. I don't care what nobody say. And that's the problem. That's why they don't have any predecessors and stuff. And like you said, Erik, he's the only one. Jim jump ship. I mean, just be honest about stuff. And on top of that, I'm gonna keep it 100. You're doing somebody else's stuff. I love Jim Lee to death, baby. I love it, whatever. But he ain't no Bob Kane. Okay? You can't be Bob Kane. I don't give a fuck. I'll tell you what it is. I don't care what kind of Batman he got come out. I've seen your Batman, bro. I'm just being honest. Like for me, I drew one Batman. I don't have to draw 18,000 Batman for I can understand Batman. I did one Batman got YouTube for me and reviews and stuff, and I'm debating, fighting with Warner Brothers about getting a T-shirt and stuff done because I'm like, man, the Batman's hot. It's just different. Don't ask me it's hot. I'm doing the public. But I ain't no Bob Kane. That's Bob Kane shit. I'm just keeping it like it is. So as the great Castana thing, you're not going to be able to unfold, okay, an envelope you ain't got. Now, I respect popularity, I respect hard work and everything. But creatively, as a whole, as this industry, come on, man. I love Todd. Todd ain't got nobody on this hardware, ain't got nobody on the staff drawing hard. He don't. I tell him that. And on top of that, he ain't got, he's smart, man. Come on. I love Robert Kirkland. Robert can't draw. Yeah, y'all made him a founder, blah, 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 probably because of the check. I got you. But he can't draw, though. He ain't going to bring people in like me or an artist. That's just reality. Stephen King can go to every convention they got. Stephen King go there and any other writers they want. That's not the medium. Comic books is a visual medium. Just like I don't want to go see Avatar or the next Matrix and just read the script on screen. They ain't going to cut it. It's a visual medium. And that's what they don't understand.
So let's talk a little bit about, you left Arcana, you went to Image, you're working with like the company you dreamed of working with forever. Larsen comes in, he tells you like, well, yeah, you can have Spawn, you can have Savage Dragon, but really you can't have Ant because we can't market Ant. So let's change everything. And everything kind of changed overnight from the end of the Arcana run into that Image stuff. And it felt like maybe I don't know. I read a bunch of interviews where you said you were surrounded by a bunch of like fake people who were leading you just in really nasty directions. And when you read those Ant books, it does kind of feel like there's a bunch of people kind of pulling at your brain and trying to tell you how to do stuff. Was that like just the industry as a whole, or was there another person like Ted Levine who was coming in and telling you like, this is how you need to end this issue and stuff?
Well, first, in the comic, breaking into the comic industry, go to Marvel, crawl out to Marvel in DC, get your chops, get popular, maybe do something else with another company, like Dark Horse, Image Comics, something like that, and then you come out with your own book. I came out with my own book, my own art, my own writing. Ghetto, be straight with you. And A lot of people had problems with that. A lot of people had problems with that because that wasn't the way it was done. So I had a lot of different conversations and stuff. And even up to today, man, I'm fan supported. The reason why I got work or do anything is because, at one point, you start playing tunes to different bands. And they take you all over the place depending on what flavor of the month is. And it drove me nuts because I don't have no backup plan. Because I got to draw. If I got to draw, that means it has to be lucrative. Because I got kids and shit. I can't be out here bullshit. So, you get a call from editor or something, they got your life in their hands. And it got too rubbery for me. Because, I've had debates with Jim Valentino on Image Comics. I'm like, bro, I can draw better than you can, though. Let me just stop the bullshit. I'm more mature in my art in comic book form or in other ones you want to do than you are. Let's just keep it 100. I don't care how many books you drew. Let's sit down and get this done and see who can pass the grade. And I'm not scared to say shit like that because it's true. You'll be arguing about me. He's talking to me about a style or something, and that's not going good with people because a lot of people aren't real people. They like to be told what they like to be told. I don't really give a fuck. That's just true. And and Ant and stuff and the ideas I had, they were ahead of their time. I'm drawing the girls look like Instagram today. Most of them look like that. Well, I'm drawing that back in the 90s. I didn't like the Michael Turner chicks with long necks and long legs like giraffes. I didn't like that. Ain't nothing wrong with it, but I didn't like that. I wanted to express something that I knew had a market, had an audience that was going a different way, And then on top of that, I had a lot of insecurities about what I did because I never done it before. I didn't want to write Ant myself. I tried to get a lot of writers to write Ant. They turned it down. They didn't want to write. That's why I paid them a whole bunch of money. I didn't want that. You don't believe in this? You can't make something out of an ant. This is a character. I'm talking about an ant. This is everybody know what that is. It's not no Ant-Man, got no suit or nothing like that. I'm like, you mean to tell me there's no space in this world for a character like this and she's a female, bro? So I got frustrated with that because I didn't think it was the truth. It bothers me sometimes because they don't think Ant was looking hot then. She's the same one as on Spawn cover now. What's the difference between you turning it down then than it is now? She looks the same, give and take who's ever drawn it, but the aesthetics of it is the same.
I was gonna say, man, not to burn on Erik Larsen, but I will take those old Ant issues all day and all night. Like I grew up on guys like Frank Frazetta, Bernie Wright,
Yeah,
and Sam Keith, and like they all drew what I consider to be like real women. They look like people, and that was
yeah.
but I just Larsen doesn't nail that aesthetic like you did.
No, his idea is about a cartoony looking ant. I got it, I get it, but even in that in itself, it's a puzzling thing for me to say why they can't be both. Now, to me, you would never, and this is the problem in there. I don't know if Erik knows or not, but you could never evolve over somebody who created something and drew hard. That's the reason why Spawn work is how I got Greg Capullo. He didn't get Charles Schultz. Okay? I'm just letting you know. He got Greg Capullo. And that's the difference. That's an upkeep. It's like when you watch a movie. When you see, Rocky and Rocky 3, that man looked a lot better. Rocky 3, he looked totally different than he did in Rocky 1. But it's an improvement in his craft. And I was doing that, and on top of that, that didn't sit well a lot of people because they have a lot of stigma that they wanted to, uphold to. And I didn't care about. I didn't care about that. It's funny, like I can get a rejection letter from Top Cow or somebody, okay, and get 5 praises from Marvel that same day from editors. No, it's like shit happens like that. It's like what y'all talking about? And the changes was affecting with the changes I was going through. But on top of that, I found out a lot about the industry I didn't like, about the propaganda and about the politics of it. And I was kicking at the gold, so to speak.
So is that what led to you kind of parting ways with Image? Because that was one thing that when I read anything about when you left Image and what was going on.
I part ways with Image because of Eric Stevens. Okay, we're doing books. I'm drawing. I'm writing. I'm doing coloring editors. I got 4 kids. I need some money. We talked one day. He said, "Oh, we had to cancel this book." I'm like, what the fuck you do that for? Oh, blah 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 blah. And I heard he didn't like what I said about Erik Larsen, bullshit kitty stuff like that.
So after you left Image, information gets crazy spotty because there was a lot of major industry, major media outlets that would not touch you with a 10-foot pole because you had, in my opinion,
one aspect that happened before what I did, I was working with Dynamite. Okay, I was working with Dynamite, and they sent me an exclusive without asking me first and expecting me to sign it. So I ain't signing this shit, basically. She sent me an email telling me I'm going to tell Marvel what you do. It's the kitty industry. They're babies. What are you doing? I'm going to tell blah, blah, blah. And I called Chris Allo later and asked him about it. He said, yeah, they did call us and try to trash your name. They do shit like that. And I got to a part, it's like, man, I can't play that type of game. I've been a punching nigga in his mouth. Some of those aspects, yeah, let me in a position where I don't like to play games. That's why I got my own LLC and I cash my own checks. I'm making $800 a page though. If I do it once or twice, it don't really matter to me because I'm the kid that couldn't get in the door in the first place. I'm always geeking out to draw and stuff. And there's so much. It's crazy. Even before I broke in, I sent stuff to. I had editors keep me on the phone for 45 minutes on hold just to see if I would stay there and stuff or not. It gets crazy. You get people. I've learned about artists committing suicide and shit. And these they're young editors, 20, 21 years old. Trying to tell somebody that's developed about art and the art world and about business. It's just ridiculous sometimes, bro. And at the end of the day, if art supports something and you don't support art, what are you? You biting the hand that feeds you. And I got tired of all that stuff. And, and I was very impressionable too on top of that. I would read stuff, what they say about me and stuff. My heart beat fast. I try to fix it. Got the typos or this. And I would try different stories. I tried philosophical stories. I tried, historic stories and put references to it back in history, or just straight booty stories. And, and then I did, I had to try different mediums. But then at the end, I started getting smart because I wanted Ant to be something that would stay. So when I did jump ship and stuff, it was kind of calculated because, a lot of them were saying, hey, Ant, before it was like Ant will sell, but it will sell. You got to get on a major title. Then it was like, well, Ant will sell a major title, but it can't stand on alone. Then where Ant can stand alone, but he can't really sell if he don't join. Yeah, I had all those different aspects and stuff. And essentially, though, I had to put it in that form physically in order to know, okay, this is a character that can be invented and it's got a life of its own, and I don't have to write it, draw it, or even talk about it. And that's ultimately what I wanted. Just to put something, just to drop a little bit of just one little small ant in an ocean full of sand at comic books. Just to say, hey, I done done that. I never wanted to hang. I'm not the person to hang on anything too long anyway, because I believe a person gets to a point, he should stop striving. You can have enough, what are you doing? I'd rather spend time with my family, my girl.
The last thing that I kind of felt like maybe the tipping point, like where everything kind of really went sideways, was when you had that issue at Ann. I think what was it, 15 or whatever, where they go to the strip club, and you
No, that wasn't it. That was a gimmick from Brian Boyle at the Coliseum.
was that because like because when you read stuff now, there's so the information is so spotty that like it legit looks like Image threw you under the bus because on my
I
video.
know it was plans. It was plans, sort of, because I'll put the book out, say nothing about it. But technically, I should supposed to have a mature audience on it of the content, and I didn't. Okay, it slipped by. And I was talking to Brendan at Coliseum. He said, "You know what? It'd be funny if you retract this book and you might get more sales." And that's what I did. I didn't retract it, but I hit the Newsrama up and put the article out, and that's how that happened. It had nothing to do with nothing else.
Wow. That's
Erik Larsen sent me an email. "What are you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. Now, keep in mind, and at the time, it was the top 3 seller Image. Top 3, top 4. Okay, she was Trouble Invincible at the time. And I didn't get no ads hardly in any other book. Okay, I went to conventions. I even went to conventions with Image. No posters and stuff made. And you got all this material from less, talent and skill. And it pissed me off. So I had to fight with all the hands I had. Sometimes I had to call and make smoke and mirrors. I had to do that a lot. Sometimes I had to pick fight just to get my name in the conversation so they remember me. It's like it's a Kanye West effect. It's a Kanye West effect. Stay relevant. That's how I've stayed relevant all these years. I ain't got that many books out. I ain't done hardly nothing. Compared to Erik Larsen, that's like a gazillion. He's like a gazillion to one. I didn't do no long runs at Marvel, and I did 6 issues here, 6 issues here. I do Kickstarters and stuff, Dirty Bones stuff, but I've never had a failure. I've never had a failure because I like to test the waters and stuff first. It's not because I'm really good or whatever. No, you test and experiment first. That's just basic. That's just basics. So, like my portfolio and stuff. Then I started going to different companies, Marvel, Sony. I did, Killzone stuff for Sony. I did the stuff that I was supposed to do in order to be a person that, he's an artist. If I get him, he can draw what I need him to draw. And my highest praise I got was at Karen Herbert at Condé Nast. Condé Nast, the biggest publisher on the planet. Maybe Vogue magazine, GQ, stuff like that. And she wrote me a letter, said, "Hey, we'd like you to draw Marvel and DC characters." I was happy then because Karen Herbert was a person from Condé Nast that put Gwyneth Paltrow and Uma Thurman up a cover of Vogue naked and won an award. And that proved to me, keep this example, and the money difference is high, but keep an example. I'm getting compensation with her on one side, and I'll get a working your arts kid from like some kind of radical studio, Top Cow or somebody at the same time. It's bullshit. So I started to balance those two, and being in the books and at the company, man, it just wasn't. It just wasn't working. I was just pissed off about it, to be honest with you. I'm saying you're doing the same thing to me that you said Marvel did to y'all guys. And I don't like that. I'm just keeping it honest.
it's cool. At least I am glad to hear that situation with the censorship was you engineering something to try to sell books. Because when I read that, I was like, man, that felt like somebody got thrown under a bus. Because if an
When they ban people or talk down about people, they don't do it publicly. They just behind the scales don't take on, and it's based. It's based on stuff. That's what's killing the industry. A lot of people have ego trips and stuff, and they don't take care of the industry as a whole, and they compete. Compete is ridiculous, if you ask me. There's enough for everybody. Why can't why don't y'all put your heads together instead of dividing, because the industry is already small. you know?
So is that what led to you selling Ant to Eric? Because I know that's going to be one of the big things that a lot of the people watching this video are going to want to know about. There is like,
Okay. It was a accidental plan. Because number one, I wanted to put Ant in an independent stable forever. I didn't necessarily have to baby it because I've matured in my art and in my story since then. And I've had a lot of characters. You know, I had over 100 characters when I was 16, just filling them up. So technically, in order for them to do what I wanted them to do, to be honest, I had to throw Ant in there and have somebody work on it that will keep it going the way it's going. So I don't have to say nothing. My name will be relevant. And I can just look it up and say, I'm proud of doing that. She became the superhero that I wanted to become and stepped outside of it. I wanted her to jump the fence beyond politics. Because if I got mad or something, they might not order it or whatever. And, you know, like I talked about Charles Schultz and Peanuts or something. He is so far removed from that, if you met the man or not, blah, 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 that has no idea about what's on Peanuts. And comic industry isn't like that. You know, that's why Jim Lee is not doing his own title. That's just true. That's why Topic Falling ain't on nothing else. Because they get this mindset of it's competition, which is ridiculous. And two, there's something in them that says they're lucky or something to not be able to take this and branch it out in a way that matures the art form and matures creativity. You know, the same ideas keep floating around all the time, and people put books in bins as, okay, he's a female artist, he can draw females good, or this guy, I mean, it's ridiculous.
and that's the other thing that I want to talk about, because like after you left Image, you went over to Marvel, and in my opinion, they stuck you on what should have been just an abysmal. I mean, the days of the Marvel the classics illustrated books are dead and gone, and they stuck on Kidnapped and Treasure Island.
Yeah.
I had never heard of those. I'd seen your backup story in Exiles, but when I went and I read those, dude, I have to tell you, man, you improve page to page in every single comic that you ever did, and I could see that. And
yeah, I had encouragement.
Hustle, but those books right there are the books that like when people are like, no, because Mario Gully, and I'm like, no, shut up. Read Treasure Island or Kidnapped, because those characters look amazing. They all look different. You have big casts in those books. They all look different. And that you could not have gotten any further away from that.
I know, right? It was crazy because I'm like, oh, I gotta draw ships and boats and hooks. And it was really cool, man, because it matured me into, oh, okay, I can put enough effort in a horse wagon as I can in a spaceship. And it really matured me, and I thank you for that compliment, because, you know, artistically, it was one of the greatest high points of my life, because I had to go into a whole different mode. And they gave me the way to express myself. I was dealing with Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio was the editor, right under Stan Lee. Nobody been in longer than him. And, I was like, hey, I'm going to do this double page spread. You think it'd be nice to do the double page? He's like, yeah, go for it. And plus they paid on time. They paid on time. I turned 5 pages in, they give me 5-page money. I turned 10, 20 pages in. I mean, they paid on time. And, I ain't gonna say no names, but everybody else wasn't like that. And that, that's a big deterrent when it comes to art in itself with anybody, because they need the time to sit down and do things, but they got to eat at the same time. And it takes a lot of time to develop a skill. That's like a man riding bike towards, he's trying to want to ride a bike for the Olympics or something. And he's working at, you got to work at Coca-Cola like I did, 7 hours on, 7 days on, 7 days off. It gets hard to juggle both and try to have some kind of family. And they was telling me stuff like, you know, you can't have a life. And I'm like, look, fuck that. I'm gonna have a life and everything. Well, what's the purpose of living? You know?
Dude, when I just had to tell you, man, because when I had never seen those books, and their heyday has long since passed as far as, you know, the actual classic illustrated. But for anybody who is interested in your stuff, anybody watching this interview now, I cannot recommend picking those up enough, because they really are stellar books that
Thank
absolutely
you, bro.
should have been not interesting to me. I've read those stories over and over again. I knew what was going to happen. And yet your art, and especially having done the research and watching you come up from Arcana, where you were doing, and I know you say that you were like aping people's style, but like really honestly, I don't ever feel like you
I
were.
was always, you know, Nick, I was always trying to find my look. And to me, that's man, it was difficult.
You were searching, you were looking, and you were like,
Yeah.
I love Todd McFarlane, so I love these circular lines. I'm gonna play with.
Yeah.
And you got through that in about 2 issues out of Arcana, and then I could tell you were like, no, Greg Capullo is.
Yeah.
I'm really into.
Yeah, you see it, don't you? Especially in issue 2.
Yeah, because he has like a very good knack for storytelling, as you pointed out.
Yeah, but he's so gritty. He's got that gritness that's, I call it snot and stuff. So that white paint, man. It's like, oh, yeah. I was getting into that then.
I mean, major kudos, dude, because I never feel like you're aping on anyone. I feel like you're somebody who learned to draw from looking at comics. And normally when you see people who do that, they end up like, and I am not a Rob Liefeld basher. I don't hate Rob like everybody else does. When you look at Rob Liefeld's art with his feet and his backgrounds and a couple other things, you could tell the cat learned to draw from comic books, and it didn't serve him well. You are a wonderful example that if you do keep pushing, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can learn to draw from comics.
Yeah, my style will always be image 90s in the construction. Because to me, that's the books looked so good. Especially back then, like I tell people don't know, when Todd and them showed up at San Diego, Marvel didn't show up to San Diego Comic-Con for 5 years, man. Can you imagine? They didn't show up for 5 years. And then what happened was, it's funny because now Marvel does the gloss pages, the splash pages. You know, we taught them like a Top Cow stuff. We call them 7 hits. 7 pages, you have 7 pages, good splash pages, double page spread, you know, like a trailer of a movie. You want to see something, oh. And Marvel back then, even up to, I don't know, a few, I guess people that you know today, and I know today, will say don't break panels and stuff like that. I'm like, man, you are crazy. You should be action when people see something big. You know, that's why they were doing the gatefold back then. I had a policy, I wanted a gatefold in every, every one of my books. Every one of them. But people, you know, the printing is not feasible, up to profit, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And, you know, it's a shame to get away from just feeling good doing something. And I've seen a lot of artists go through that, man. I've seen a lot of artists go through that, you know. Their creativity gets crushed. And when that happens, you know, there's no excitement in it. It's very hard to express that. You get mechanical.
So what with you parting ways with Marvel? Like I read some stuff from Ralph Macchio where like literally he was saying like Mario Gully is one of the most solid artists we've got. I put him on something that I didn't necessarily think that he could knock out of the park. Not only did he knock it out of the park, but we want to see more. Roy Thomas spoke extremely highly of.
Yeah, I'm a good dude, man.
In your deadlines, which is something that basically nobody can freaking do.
Yeah, I done 2 books at the same time at Marvel. I did Marvel vs. Hulk and Kidnap like #3 at the same time. I was just going crazy. What really? I mean, it's not. It's twofold. One fold is even shit. I mean, even now, I'm more mature than an editor that's on my work. Because I publish books and put the book out to make the sale. That's different when you work at a corporation. That's one point. On 2, one of my mentors is from Walt Disney, Jess Rubio. He was handpicked by Walt himself. He got Rubio Arts in Disney. Now, Disney got a lot of whatever, but you got Walt, Roy Thomas, and Jess Rubio. A lot of people don't know that. He got carte blanche, picked, and he was my mentor. And he told me back then, he said, comics are beneath you. I was working portraits for him back then. But this is a master artist, in the world of art, through Italy and to France. And that's one aspect of it that, I get to the point where it's like, look, this is how it looks the best. I need this color. I need this way. I need this written this way. And, unless you run in the business, typically that's frowned upon. And two, Marvel couldn't afford me now. I would never do a page for $150 now. Technically, because it's like I got to a point that I believe that art was supposed to at least be healthy to the artist. I've seen Bob Kane, how his royalties were. The list goes on. I had Dave Finch writing Aphrodite at Top Cow. He sold Aphrodite at Top Cow. They fired him off his own book. So right now it's like I'm not going to do nothing for you for less than $500 a page, and they ain't paying people that much. So when I've created my own LLC, I make my own contracts. Look, this is what I draw. This is how much I charge. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go someplace else. Some people like peanut butter cookies. Some people like chocolate cookies, vanilla cookies. These are peanut butter cookies. It's just that simple. I'm not going to play that game of, who's doing this and who are they. I don't care about none of that. And then on top of that, the conversation outside of business, their business practices, is retarded to me. A deadline for an artist or a deadline for the consumer. And based upon stuff they do, like giving people, it just, and that's one aspect of it. And another aspect of it, they didn't let me play the game that I wanted to play. I've talked to DC about Batman and stuff like that, blah, blah. They give me a run around, give me some bullshit. They ain't looking at the numbers. Or I talked to Erik Larsen about doing stuff, this and that and the other, blah, blah, blah. But, sometimes it works out, sometimes it don't. But at the end of the day, when it got beyond a good product, a master product, if I'm talking to somebody across the table that don't know how to produce that product, I get funny with that. I get funny with that. And it's like, you got a lot of artists. I've seen a lot of artists and artists out. I'll never be an artist alley. Because I've been in too many alleys. You're going to put me on a premier stage, you ain't going to put me in it at all. That's just how I am, because I've just been and there's too many people in the art community itself that has a government on art for the wrong reasons. I think Mike McNulty's art should supply Mike McNulty. The stuff that happened with Frank Frazetta and his family and all that, blah, 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 blah. If you put something on your page, if you put something on a wall and it costs $5,000 or $1 million, and somebody's buying that, and that's roughly worth that, whatever, but the artist is eating once a week, that's not right to me.
So let's talk about, before you sold Ant, you did go to Big City Comics and you did do that series. That didn't feature art by you, as far as I know, right? You didn't draw that, did you?
I drew one. This is how that happened. Me and Jeff Kaufman at Big City Comics was his friends. Jeff Kaufman, a millionaire over. Jeff Kaufman wanted to buy his way in the comics. Okay. Erik Larsen was aware that Jeff was talking shit online. And in the group of things, if Jeff is talking something and my name is mentioned, it's Mario Gully and them guys. Okay, that started the dirt. Now, when I start the dirt, that slows people down from talking to you, emailing you, blah, 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 on the industry side. 2, I was doing stuff for Marvel, but word on the street was Ant could not survive outside of the Image banner. You need the first 3 slots in previews, and you need a top-tier comic. I said, nah. And we had a conversation, me and Jeff Kaufman. That was a bet. Okay? Because me and Jeff Kaufman was talking on the phone, and he made me mad one day because he said, you can do this with Ant and baby, blah, blah, blah. And I'm making these books out, and maybe Ant will sell, maybe she'll do something like this and that. I said, nah. I said, Ant gonna be a #1 seller at your company. I'm not gonna enjoy it either. I'm just gonna write it. That's what happened. And I said, I'm gonna do a different writing style because I wanted to do something different. It was gonna be Ant uninhibited. That's all I wanted to do, Ant uninhibited. And Jeff said, no, I want you to do Ant unleashed. So I did Ant unleashed, and I wanted to be more dark, and I really took my time with the writing. Now, a lot of people don't know this, and that's the reason why a lot of my writing is inconsistent and fucked up, because I was too geeking out, because Erik Larsen is a master at drawing books and writing it later. Okay? That's what Erik can do that. He's a master at it. My dumb ass thought I could do the same thing because I thought about the story visually. Okay? So, typically, if I'm thinking about Ant's story, I do like Todd McFarlane said do. I got a Todd McFarlane rough sketch and an Erik Larsen rough sketch. This is how I make books. Todd said, you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on 22 pages, and you go, Ant 1, splash page here, page 2, small, and that's how he would make it visually. I did the combination of both, and it was inconsistent and stuff. So at least I actually sat down and thought about it. Okay, this starts the backstory. This is my protagonist. This is my antagonist. This is the basic plot. This is the dilemma. This is the hit. And that's why that was a better series. Because I actually sit down and took my time and wrote the damn book out.
It was weird when I would read the articles talking about the beef between you and Larsen. Nothing that you ever said felt like you were being straight out like, hey,
I don't say nothing. I mean,
well, no, but if you read Bleeding Cool, their headlines essentially which is
Rich don't like me. I'm gonna tell you why Rich don't like me. Rich Johnson don't like me. I'm gonna tell you why. It's just simple. Okay. Go back to big city comics. Then I'm the type of person, I'm always hooking people up. If you see Ant, I'm getting free pinups from people, contests, covers, because I always love to show people art, and from art, good people. I'm trying to get them from whatever, because, hey, like I said, I tell people kind of stupid, but it's true. You'll never see one ant by themselves. More than likely, they're together. If you got ants together, they can eat anything. Okay? Get enough of them. Okay, how big the elephant is. You get enough ants in his ass, you're going to be hollering. Okay, so that's my thing, man. And I ain't going to say the word giving back because I don't even like that term, but that's how I got in. Having artists do covers and stuff, and and people start doing art based on their notoriety. Oh, let's get this guy to do the cover because he's hot. The cover might look like shit, but they want to get him because his name is in this, that, and the other. So that was one thing. And 2, the situation with Rich Johnson was there was a colorist. I got the colorist. No, sorry, back that up. It's a letterer. Okay, I got him some work. I've seen him on digital webbing and stuff. I love to get novice people because I was a novice, and plus a lot of some of the people that were in the industry, their heads too big. You can't tell them nothing. You can't, they do their thing, they their way. Okay, they're doing their way, and you want to do it. Sometimes you want to do it different. So he got with Big City Comics. I get him work. Before that, he didn't have no work. Then Jeff Kaufman at Big City Comics lost the files and wanted him to send them. And he asked me to ask him because he sent him some emails and he didn't give him a reply. Jeff Kaufman, a millionaire, he lived in Ellsworth in Florida, across the street from Shaquille O'Neal's mom. Okay, he had a bank. But I didn't like people try to use the man. So I emailed the dude and said, hey, can you send him the files back? He paid you for them. He said, what's in it for me? I got pissed off. What's in it for you? Man, come on, I'll hit you in your motherfucking mouth. That's me, bro. He sent an email to Rich Johnson saying I was bullying him and this and that. That got on a forum in Newsarama, and I think it might have got on Newsarama, but that started the point that Rich didn't like me. Then he tried to hook me up. I told him the truth. Yeah, I said that. Blah, blah, blah. And they made it like Mario Gully bullying or threatening somebody in the industry. I said, it wasn't like that. This man paid that dude. He ain't paid him good money. Number 2, he didn't have no work. Number 3, I looked out for him. Number 4, all he had to do was send the files back. The man lost the damn files.
It's the work you already done, like sending it to somebody. I mean, yeah, like the dumb move, lose the files, but that doesn't sound out of put.
That's what happened. And ever since then, Rich picked on me as an industry bully. Even when he did this thing about Dirty Bones, Mario Suspect, and this and that. And it's funny because he never had a critique about my writing or my art style. It's just stupid. It's like, what are you talking to me? What you messing with me about? I'm not in public too much. I got 4 kids. I'm in the house drawing all the damn time.
Well, and it's cool you bring up Dirty Bones because that was one of those ones where like it didn't matter if you were reading Newsarama, Bleeding Cool. The 3/4 at the beginning of the article would be like, okay, well, has been Mario Gully, who's no longer with Image, who's blah, 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 blah. But then you get down to the bottom of the article and every single one of them were like, except for like Dirty Bones looks amazing.
It's crazy. And it's like, my whole thesis about art in a total is it's not what you draw, it's how you draw. I tell people that all the time because, I have different opinions when it comes to art critique in itself. Because number 1, I look for the effort, not necessarily style. I don't believe in styles, like Bruce Lee say. I don't believe in styles of art because you only have, pencil, ink, color, or some kind of, you already have that. And anatomy and stuff, all that stuff is basically the same. So they put styles in different. I don't really agree with that. I go with effort. Like Greg Capullo, it's how much effort you put in. Charles Schultz, his effort, his best effort might be Snoopy. It might be. Greg Capullo's best effort might be 20 books of Spawn and 10 books of fucking Creech. That might be his effort, But that's how I approach it. Now, when you have a great effort and you neglect that effort, that's on you. I can tell in people's eyes when I talk to them about the situation. But, if a person is giving his effort or doing the best he can, in my opinion, that's a different grade because that's his effort. Everybody ain't practicing the same. Everybody doesn't, there's enough for detail, simplicity, this and that. But it's the effort of the artist is what gets me.
Let's talk a little bit about Dirty Bones. I loved the Omaha the Cat Dancer reference with the main character. I don't think most people got that, but I love Omaha, and I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that's Omaha the Cat Dancer. What? So did you finish that book or anything, man?
I didn't finish the book. What happened was I had been in Dirty Bones. I don't know if I think I've been in her Dirty Bones probably 5 years before I've been in that. Well, it might have been around there somewhere. Because like I said, I gotta go back to, I gotta give a shout out to my man, John Byrne. Okay, John Byrne, he's the first dude that I blew my mind on. His Secret Wars came out, it wasn't his. Secret Wars came out in Claws. Then I got to John Byrne. I met John Byrne, Alpha Flight. Then his Superman. Then his She-Hulk. Okay, after that I was hooked. You can tell me shit about John Byrne. I'm hooked. I'm John Byrne's son. He might well just paint me white and give me John Byrne's serious. So In that era, though, when I was coming up, me and my friend Calvin Benjamin, my next door neighbor, my best friend, we drew together. We just so happened Secret Wars was coming out those months when we were together. And they had so many characters in them. And so we started drawing characters, like I said. And when Dirty Bones came out, I was mature enough at the time to say, this story's been written a long time ago. I know these characters in and out because I play them on my cartoon. And when too many hands wanted to get in it, I had to pull it back. Because I didn't want it to get into a way, I didn't want to get myself in a desperate situation when I made compromises on it like I did on it.
So have you thought about ever going back? There's still a lot of people out there who throw Dirty Bones around and like still want to see that book. Have you ever thought about going back?
I do. It's like for the last 2 years, my dad died, passed away. I had to take care of him. He had Alzheimer's. Before that, I had a bad situation in France with that GoFundMe thing. I didn't have to go. I did the art. I didn't do the GoFundMe. Another gentleman took care of it, and it got bad. See, I don't draw nothing like I give an editor something better than I give a fan. I don't do that. I let that go. If I'm drawing you a commission, you want a Batman from me or a Spider-Man, I'm drawing you the same thing that I would draw. The same thing I would draw if I'm drawing a Marvel cover. Every time I give somebody something, I try to give them the same value and effort. And that's the reason why I get slow and behind, because some people want it turned around overnight or something. Excuse me. Look, sometimes I can't do that. I just can't. I don't know why. Sometimes I sit down and I can't draw shit. It's one of those things where I'm very picky. Man, one time I was at a convention in San Diego. It's when Ant came out. Joe Keating was writing in that image. That was more image work, not mine. I sent them a script in one time. It sent back to me, rewrote. Rewrote now. This is Image Comics, Image Central. On top of that, I flew to San Diego and stuff at a time when I was in seminary at Orlando First Baptist. All the time, anyhow, long story short. I feel good about being there. Image told me at the time that I couldn't even stand behind the booth. And 6 is out. An Image. 6 are going to be, it's coming to be 6 or 7. It was really a disappointment to me because I had the effort and the sales. They say, and it's true, some of the adults in the comic book industry and business act like high schoolers. They do. I mean, it's true. I've had editors say, I'm going to tell somebody else. What kind of man talks to another fan on the phone and say, I'm going to tell somebody that doesn't so? That's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Like I don't like Eric Stevenson. I tell him in his face. It's like, you want to, he heard something about, I said online about Eric. So that has an effect on my books or our relationship as far as making books for the fans. You can't call me up and talk to me man to man about this. Someone should be taught down in my studio. I mean, the industry do that. Editors talking about, you're hard to work with for this and that and the other. It's ridiculous. And, I don't play like that. I just don't. I'm a real human being. I'm a real dude. Because they don't look at the big picture, and if we're human. I'm just a man. I'm a man with a pencil, bro. I mean, when it comes down to it, I ain't got no school training. I failed writing in high school, F's or F plus, I'm just keeping it on it. But I'm just a guy with a pencil.
So the other thing I do want to ask you about is, and you brought it up, was the GoFundMe sketchbook. I know stuff kind of went sideways on that, and you'd mentioned that you weren't even the one who had set it up. So can you talk just a little bit about like what happened and
Okay, let
all
me
of
tell you
that?
what happened. Well, the first time I'm drawing commissions on a wide scale, but I'm giving them pencil and ink and top quality on every one of them. Okay, I got 2 months behind. I got 6 months behind. After a year, I got a year behind now. I got a year behind, and it stressed me out, man. I got anxiety. I had to go to the hospital. I started taking drugs. More drugs. It was bad. That was going on. At the same time, I was in a new relationship with a woman in Canada, and she was a marketing director for one of the top companies in Canada, Spring Advertisement. Okay, it's my chick. I'm going through that. And the French guy, every time you get in comics, when I get involved with people, it's like writing books and anything. People just want to jump aboard. They want to be the boss. They think they can write better than you can. They think, bro, it's always like that. I don't care. You've been doing it for 30 years. It to me, like Erik Larsen, to me, one of the top guys who ever can draw and write, like almost period, right? You get people, they'll jump, they ain't written a book in their life. Yeah, I want to write. I want to do this, blah, 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 but I got some money to give you to do something else. You know, that was the aspect in the Prince thing. And then we had a falling out. He said he was a boss, man. I'm the boss, I'll tell you what to do. I said, what? I'm my own boss. What do you mean you're the boss? You gave me a suggestion, I draw it, I do this and that, you encourage me, but you ain't no damn boss. I'm just picking up a pencil. I'm doing this. That was an aspect. And then I was getting like $100 for a commission. Then it went like to 150. Then it's going up, and now my notoriety is going up on the other side. I'm getting 500 pages on the other side, and that's fucking up. Because as a human, it's a messed up thing, and I didn't handle a lot of it well. I didn't handle a lot of it well. If somebody after giving you 300 a page to do something, and somebody else wants to give you 150 for the same page, and they're arguing with you about it, I didn't really know how to handle that, the juxtaposition of that. I didn't really know. And I was dealing with that. And the French guy was making me promises. Oh, we're going to do some writing. I got some writing we got to do this and that and the other. And then he'd come back and say some things. I tell him the truth. Man, if I'm blacklisted or this and that, why I'm blacklisted for? Is it because of art? Or is it because of what I say? Or is it because somebody in that business thinks they're more educated or more proven than I am? And I go down the line. We start arguing and stuff, man. It gets funny because, if the predecessor of Walt Disney, he's dead now, wanted me to be his apprentice. What's some snot-nosed kid at Marvel that's 22 years old going to tell me about art? It's just that simple. It's just that cut and dry sometimes. And then, the patience and putting this stuff out. And then, he sent, like when the money comes in, because Thomas was the French guy. He's in charge of the money and in charge of the page. I'm trying to tell people, look, I can't be no more not in charge of stuff. If stuff going south, go with the man who set the stuff up. And a lot of times, that even happens in Dirty Bones and stuff. A lot of times, people want to get in with you because you're either hot or they want to make some money off of you. When we always get tough, they say something, jump ship, and all you get is emails. They don't never come back. Other people that have problems with Ant or on Ant or something never came back and did anything. They never, like even the writers I had or whatever, even with Big City Comics and them, people never come back and make their defense or take their stand. They just go, I'm out. I'm gone. So you quit. That's what happened. You quit.
And that was one of the things that I actually respected about you, man, is like normally whenever you got drug into stuff and you'd be out in the public eye, and I think most people, Erik was another one of the very, very few guys who did respond, and I always thought it was really cool that that you do have a tendency to use like
Yeah.
fucking shit and that kind of thing, but as opposed to you being like
Well, yeah.
like
I mean, I try to be, it's like, yeah.
like, hey, motherfucker, and blah, 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 and this and that. And I really respected the fact that you and Erik, even though this was happening in public, like across like Twitter and publicly posted messages and crap, there was never really any, like, Erik was like, look, man, we don't see eye to eye. Obviously, like, this is not going to work. And, like, I wish him the best. And then, like, you were saying basically the same thing. Like, it's Erik's thing now. And I respect Erik. And, like,
Yeah.
I respect what I do enough to
Cause I got respect for Erik. Cause even if we have differences, whatever it is, I might like a red car. He might like a green one. I respect him. He respects me. You know, I had to apologize to Erik a lot about shit. I said a lot. Erik, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and this is a little tad bit. Me and Erik has got a book together that I'm drawing. It hadn't been done yet, but I've been had a script. So we're colleagues in that sense. And I admire him and look up to him for that because he is a mentor of mine, a big influence in my life. But some other people you meet in the industry and stuff, if I looked up to them or not, I've looked up the most because I'm the kid that could never get in. Sometimes you meet them, man, it's not that way. And, and to me, most of the guys are big guys. What I mean big is they got what people want. They're doing their life dream. They're rich. And they're not only that, they know they can do it and they're good. Tommy Pollard can draw a book all day long and have people lined up, no matter if he give his best effort or he, not. And to me, that's a dream that's beyond me. And I'll always respect somebody like that. But at the same time, we have words or something, and he said something that offends me, or I say something offending somebody. I'm gonna tell somebody what happened. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Because everybody got a journey and everybody got a path. And if that happened, it happened. Why am I supposed to say something else? That's what happened.
And if you look at your social media posts, like even when Ant was first getting rebooted, I really respected the fact that like the first thing that I saw you literally say, and I almost remember it verbatim, was like, this is a dream come true to have somebody that I respect this much drawing and writing it.
Yeah.
I came up with. And like I think that goes a long way in showing that like that's not that the way that Bleeding Cool and a lot of in Newsarama.
Yeah, they try to push it the wrong way. It's like, man, to see my name in an image book. How many times I pulled up in a comic book I got, either from the stand or the comic book shop or back to something that wished I was in it. I got a founder that will always be cemented with working with me. Man, I'm good, man. I like publicity. I'm not going to be a person to say I don't. I don't care what kind of publicity it is, as long as my name stay relevant. I was talking to Randy Queen, okay? He's one of a friend of mine. Everybody know Randy Queen. Me and Randy talked a lot over the years. Randy said, Mario, when they stop talking about you, that's when you got a problem.
And that's one of the best things about Ant being back out is I'm seeing your name tossed around a lot more. And when I did that video I had a lot of people, even other guys who do YouTube channels and historians and stuff, and even fans of yours were just really overjoyed to see it. And they were like, because you don't hear about them. And that was a problem that I hit at a certain point.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I reached out to you originally about like trying to get some information, you know, whatever that was, you know, several months ago, whenever I did the video, was because like after the sketchbook, it was like that was it. I literally, I know you
Yes.
cave woman was supposed to have some stuff, but I couldn't find out anything else. And
Yeah.
when we started doing this and you were talking about doing new pages, I was like, wait a minute, Mario Gully's doing work, and you get on Grand Comic Book Database, it is not on there. There is nothing about you. So
Yeah, because
up to man.
I'm a twofold. One, when I had the unfinished project, I got to make amends, but I don't know how to, based on somebody else done it for me in a different country, in a language I don't speak. So, but rightly so, because a lot of people put money in and they didn't get what was promised, and that fucked my. Cause I mean, my that messed up more. I mean, it's like a guy being an image, putting out books, and get late and 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 late for like 4 years.
But fans get upset about that. And what I was going to tell you, Mario, is that the people that commented on my video, that watched that even put money behind that, I didn't have a single one of them say nasty things about you. Not a single one of them was like, where the fuck is my sketchbook? And this cat's a thief. And like, you know what they said, man? He's an inspiration. I'm glad to have put a little bit of money behind him. Do you know what he's doing now? So I think that's important for you to hear. And like, it's really nice for me to hear that, you know, you say you even thought about trying to like, how do I make reparations? How do I make this right when this wasn't my
Well,
project to begin with, you know?
I got it. I mean, I still got to put the sketchbook out. It's been a year of COVID and been a year of my dad dying, and but I never try to unfulfill something I promised somebody, and that's a hard thing. I've had problems with publishing stuff. Sometimes I turn stuff in out of the blue, like like, man, this is 4 months old. I still turn it to you because it's still in my mind, and I keep everybody in my mind, man, because I love them. I love it. I mean, like the Bible says, you give something to a drink of water to one of these little ones in my name. I mean, I'm grateful, man. So the situation is, I got too much work for the time span and for my art craft. And I'm still developing. I'm still getting better. I'm still doing more as far as business is concerned and my aspects of books and stuff and what I read. But, I'm doing a convention next year in Kentucky. I got prints coming out. There's a movie called Falling Cards coming out, headed by Rich Manley. I'm doing that book. You can look him up. I'm doing that. I got a Cave Woman series, 5-issue Cave Woman series that I wrote and supposed to be drawn. But it's hard for me because I got a lot of hats. Not only I typically write most of my stuff, or at least construct it in a way that heads towards me. Some people compete against each other to make a bad book, blah, blah, blah. I still got a project with Erik Larsen, the image. That ain't done. I can't start because, in different aspects, so many things has happened in between time in my personal life. To sit down and focus and put your best in this and in that, and to be behind. That's one of my weaknesses. I'm a great champion if I'm ahead. I'm great. If I'm ahead, 5 books, 6 books or something, I'm always gonna be ahead. But if I'm behind, it's hard. I perform under pressure in different aspects. And I got a book to finish this month and stuff like that. But that's one of my downfalls. If I get behind or get lax, because I guess it's a creative thing. I'm no good. I'm trying to get up, man. I've got up for a week a week straight and can't draw nothing. Just, it don't look good, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, and I've never learned how to handle those situations. Not really, not to my satisfaction.
And one thing that I have forgotten to ask about, and I know you guys are no longer together and all of that, but Tina was a very big part of, you know, her name was in print
Mhm.
and it felt like she was a very, at least while you guys, you know, were together and doing stuff, she was a very important and was behind you 110%. And one of the things that I pointed out in the video is that after you and Tina kind of broke up and your life literally just went into free fall. Like it felt like
Well,
you had a hard time maybe bouncing back and trying to wear both of those hats.
yeah, because, you know, I'm a guy, I grew up as a people pleaser. Like, I see people clapping me, I'll break my damn neck, man. You know, I'll climb up a lava mountain and jumping in if somebody's behind me. When that's not the case, it's hard. That's just me as an individual. You know, that's just, you know, good, bad, or indifferent. It's hard. And then, you know, and messing with, you know, I'm a person like I'm a fantastic lady now, but I got to be happy to draw. And when our family broke up, I wasn't happy. I was taking care of 4 kids by myself, you know, and I was drawing in hotels sometimes, you know, moving around and stuff, because a lot of times you got to, I mean, back in those days, kind of, you got to go to the city where the company's at, sort of, to make an impact, sort of. You know, it's better. And I moved around a lot, you know, to get closer to the pie I'm a bite. And that's hard with 4 kids. You know, and plus you're not doing nothing else but trying to draw or either manage your money or barter. Very difficult, man. And it was a dark time. It was a dark time because just being by myself, and, you know, I didn't have no cheerleader. I need a cheerleader, man. I do. I'm that type of guy. If I don't have a cheerleader, you know, I know a lot of artists. If their homestead ain't right, their family situation ain't right, they're not too good creatively. And I know that as a fact that, you know, it gets hard. And it was hard.
You talked about doing pages and stuff. Uh, what what is the best way for people to get a hold of? What have you done since then that people have not heard about? What is a
I've done a lot of stuff underground. I mean, if you want to call it that, like for movie studios and, you know, stuff like that, advertisements and stuff. I've been keeping I've been keeping Uncle Sam happy, if you want to say it like that, in projects, but none in fruition of bringing them out to the public.
okay?
Oh, I'm doing a book for Rich Manley right now, and the book is called Falling Cards. I'm doing that. I still got plenty of commissions I need to do. I'm working on that now as I speak. I got a Cave Woman series going to be coming out. It's like I got these things on my plate. And now, you know, I'm just organizing them and trying to get them in structure. But at the same time, you know, my dad just died of Alzheimer's. You know, I mean, he's the hardest working man I knew. He put 32 years at General Ford Motors, and then he put 10 years at Walt Disney World. You know, after he came back from the service. So, you know, that was a very hard period. I mean, it was hard not only because of, you know, he's one of the hardest working men I knew, but to see his mind deteriorate and being there, seeing it, it's been something that's it's just tough. It's just tough to come back from. You know, you get stuck in these waves of being depressed or being complacent or being, you know, used to getting up in the morning, asking my dad what he want for breakfast, you know, getting to the point where I'm driving around to stores or giving him a bath or you know, and it just, you know, I mean, it was kind of one thing after another. But I'm good now, man. I got great family, you know, great woman, great dog, you know, and this is my part right now that I'm trying to put into myself to get back on track and put my best art forward and put my creativity forward. You know, I do have a book with Erik Larsen. You know, you probably don't want to say too much about it, but you know, that's my, you know, I love that man. It's my man. But you know, I had that book in the hole for a while. But I always wanted to draw. I don't want to draw the deficit. I want to draw happy and put my best foot forward. Because at the end of the day, I believe that's what people want to see.
And man, I hadn't heard about your father. I kind of stalk your Facebook and your Instagram and stuff, and I really, I used to do a lot of personal care assistance work, and a lot of the people that I worked with suffered from Alzheimer's.
You know,
And watching that deterioration from people that I just, you know, that I consider them to be my friends, but they were my employers, was so hard. I can't imagine that
it's hard.
impact that would have on your work, man. Like trying to
It's hard.
hustle and grind and draw. That's
Yeah.
I'm just so sorry to hear for your loss, man. Just from what.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I mean, it's you know, but the best thing out of it for a son is for me to, if I knew, you know, how the universe worked out, I dropped everything and was able to be there. And you know, that matters to me a lot because, you know, I carried up to him to, you know, I got him to the point, you know, driving around, taking care of him, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, 1 out of 6, you know, my other brothers in different states, you know, they didn't have the ability like I had with the blessing of art and floating around if I needed to. I mean, you know, so even things were bad, I was still able to say, hey, I don't have to come to work from 9 to 5 today. I'm able to jump down there and see what I can do, you know, even if I ain't eating that couple of days, you know, and I'm happy about that because if I had another different situation or something, I don't know what would have happened. It's hard. You have some days where you have some days you crying, you know, you feel like the whole world is against you. But, you know, what I really love about it is the clear conscience, man. It's a very nice thing to have, even with my kids and stuff like that. It's like, you know, when you got that time when it could be a time where you have a situation you're confronted with something that you think God or something is going to put a judgment on you, you know, or just sleep good at night or whatever. And I found a clear conscience, man, it's a wonderful thing to have. Even when I was, you know, doing all kind of crazy drugs and depressed and stuff, it got to a point I didn't get too bad because I didn't do too bad in my own conscience. You know what I mean? And I think that was important.
So moving forward from here, man, do you have like plans to start picking pieces back up? Like, is there a good way for people to follow you? Um,
Yeah. Well, right now I'm on Google. I'm on with Google Business. I'm actually one of the top 10 restaurant reviewers. That's kind of funny. But it just came through the Google Maps and me doing stuff with Google. You know, they can look me up. I got my website and stuff launching. I haven't put in a song yet because I'm the type of person that don't want to put nothing out unless the future projects get people excited. But, you know, they know I'm OMG. They can, you know, what do you call it? Original Mario Gully, OMG. They can Google me. They can find my stuff. I got some, you know, this year, especially 2022, I got to fulfill my contract with Erik Larsen, Kevin Ossoff, Cave Woman, Falling Cards coming out, Rich Manley. He's from, you know, from movie studio. I got to do that. I got to finish Dirty Bones. You know, I'm probably working on a conversation with Amazon to either, you know, I like to do my own thing and I like my own, you know, I don't know how it's going to work, but, you know, I got some projects coming. They can just Google me and find me anywhere. They can Google me on Google Maps, OMG Studio. They can find it directly to the studios.
for anybody watching this, in the description below, there will be links to your Instagram, your Facebook, and then any other links that you send me that you want included down there. I started the video because I had some people ask about it, you know, ask about you, and like, I just want the record set straight, man, because it's such an inspirational story. And like I said, stuff doesn't end happily ever after and you ride off into the sunset and stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to see you back out working out, and it's awesome to hear you talking about that Cave Woman series because I read about like, oh yeah, this Cave Woman series is supposed
Yeah.
to come out.
Some of the relationships I have with the person or I mean, I tell you right now, Kevin Alsop is my favorite, one of my favorite publishers, period. I mean, as a man, as a person, he treats you exactly the way a publisher is supposed to treat you. But, you know, in the times, I just couldn't dedicate my mind enough creatively to do the jobs I needed to get done. You know, I can't put out, I just have a day, I can't put out stuff I'm not happy with. I've done it sometimes and it gets you to a point where you bite your lip. And I can't do that. You know, it's not about an excuse or about, you know, I'd rather draw, like I said, I'd rather draw one Batman that looks good to me than have, you know, 30 books that I'm not happy with. And that's the problem.
Because like I read a couple of interviews where you were talking about your Marvel work, and you were like, I think maybe sometimes at that point I was getting stuff done on time ahead of my quality, and I was like reading it at that same time, and I was like, man, if this is what you're doing when you're rushing.
Yeah, I was rushing, man. I did like 5 pages. I did 6 pages. I did one time. I think I did 13 pages, man, in 3 days because because they paid, but I had to, but they kept drilling in my head Marvel deadlines. So I was more of a deadline person. I made sure Ralph and them know for a fact I'm hitting deadlines almost more than anything else. And, you know, it kind of worked backwards sometimes because some pages, you know, I think, man, I could have done that so much better. I could have put that in there. And I'm the type of person to try to give that to people. And it's how I felt at the time.
Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing what you do now that you've got your head back in that space. Last question. When I did my video, you did tell me that I got a couple of things wrong. And I hope that throughout this, you know, we've been talking for
Yeah.
3 hours. And I hope that we've gotten a chance to set the record straight and, you know, for me to rectify any mistakes that I might have made. Was there anything in that video that I messed up that you would like to point out?
No, I wasn't that. I think it was just maybe the information was kind of off kilter because I know stuff is out there. And, you know, people do that. It's like I read stuff about me. I'm like, man, that ain't what happened. That ain't what I had in there or whatever. And, you know, I guess it's from you know, because I'm always a fan perspective first. I can't help it. So I look at it as I got a fan mind looking at things, and I look at it as the reality. And I just want to make sure, like, oh, no, this is Hawaii, and this is the feelings behind it. This is what happened. You know, it wasn't about, you know, it's like wild left image or something, blah, 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 blah. If you want to know in a nutshell, it was Eric Stevenson. You know, it's stuff like that. And, you know, and you know, my drawing ability or what I've been doing, it's just, I want people to know the truth because it's always been a journey of me just with a pencil. That's all I had. You know, I had to figure out a way to make this thing work for me. And I didn't know too many people who did that. You know?
And there's not stories like that out there. That's why I really wanted to, like, because as negative as that video could have been perceived, every time I was like, I don't want you to take away anything negative away from this video.
It's all good, man. As long as it's like you know, I believe all is one and we're all in this together. You know, I believe there's one race, that's the human race. You know, I don't see all the other bullshit. You know, you got good people and you got bad people. You know, sometimes the good do bad, sometimes the bad do good. Hope somebody do more than the other. That's how I look at it. You know, hope you do more good than the other. And I just want to inspire people to do something that they never thought, oh, maybe I could become, you know, Ant and be on a cover of Smart. When I'm walking in that store and I seen that book for the first time, and these people are unreachable, still unreachable. Their lines 7 hours long, you know, and to be a kid in school, to pick up a pencil and don't have to think about he's going to be a starving artist. No, he can be like Mario, OMG, in 2022, 2021, well, farther than that back, that you can make $800 a page. even in this economy, even today. And, you know, that's one of the things I want to give on, because there's enough for everybody. And it ain't about competition. You know, to me, competition is an enemy to creativity, because competition is you taking something someone has. You climbing up a ladder and taking a ladder and throwing it up, instead of you climbing a ladder and bringing somebody else with you. And that's, you know, that's the whole thing. You know, you have to compete. Competitors don't have to take something that somebody else got. There's enough pencils, money, books, movies, houses for everybody on this planet. Every individual on this planet, in one shape, way, form, another. That's how I believe it. And you know, that whole duality of something successful and failing, or there's not enough people in the market and all that stuff. If people just stop that shit and love one another, can we just love one another? Not have to worry about the political party, your race. Are you good or not good? That's, I mean, to me, it's simple. We're all here together, man.
Like, even if we don't love each other or necessarily unite in a single dream, like, I love hearing that, man. Can't we just get along? Can't I just respect you as another
Yeah,
being and give you quarter and respect that?
right. Can you just take a compliment, give one, and have one in your life? Right, all the extra baggage, also extra all that bull. I mean, you know, it's like saying hi to your neighbor. Some people look at you mean, man. For no reason, they know you.
When I talked to my neighbor, I asked him, I was like, hey man, you know, I know I take up part of your parking space and this kind of stuff. And I was like, I really apologize. Is that cool? And literally, Mario, he stood there for like 2 minutes and was looking at me, and I was like, what's wrong? You know, I've lived like next to people for 8 years, and they've never so much as said a word to me. And I've been here for like 2 weeks, and you asked me,
Yeah,
and I was like, well, yeah, because you're my neighbor, man. And like, I've seen that disappear during my lifetime is being it's just heartbreaking for me, man.
it is, man. It's gratitude to me. It comes down to gratitude. Those who have, will be given more. Those who don't, what they have, we taken from them. It's gratitude. You gotta be happy. If you're happy about people, happy about your life and stuff, you're gonna have to express gratitude. I'm happy, man. I'm one of the ones, I know what it's like to be in jail or not being able to eat. Or you walking with 4 kids and you're homeless. You don't know, you got no phone, you ain't got no money in your pocket. Okay, all you got is you walking around and trying to see what's gonna happen to you. You know, and it's like, you know, people take that stuff for granted, man. If they start getting sick, or you know, start losing some of their money, start losing some of their cars, it shouldn't be like that. You know, we all here together, man, and everybody, if you punch them, they bleed. You know, to me, nobody's self-taught. Ain't nobody on planet Earth or on this universe is self-taught. See, we come from somewhere. You gotta learn from somebody. You gotta talk to somebody when you're talking. And it's like, and that's my main thing about art in itself, and the barriers, especially in the comic book industry, man. It's like those barriers should be at least acknowledged and looked at in a form that can take on something positive to grow. You know, I hate the term starving artist. I hate the term, because, you know, everything in existence you look at, somebody designed it. I don't care where you come from, with your faith, with your beliefs, whatever. Design, it's not made. It's formless. Formless. It's like, man, you know, you gotta appreciate, if you appreciate creation, more will come to you. You appreciate art, more art will come to you. You start killing that stuff and destroying it with propaganda and noise and stuff just to make a point. What good is it? You know? And that's why I like this video review, man. That's why I want to give my best, because, you know, so many people would rather just talk and you know, make some noise or make some dollars or, you know, make some points. I stopped getting away from that a long time ago, you know, about getting attention. Artists really don't want attention. Artists want to be left alone so you can draw. Most of them do. You know, they're the ones being picked on. You know, we're the ones that go in the back and, you know, and shut the door and draw the damn time. That's most of us that I know. You know, that's the one on stage, you know, we're not the Puff Daddies. Not really. So I appreciate this interview, man. And Ronan, I appreciate you.
Hey, dude, I just appreciate you doing it, and I'm really happy to get your story out there. Hopefully, let people know you got work coming out, how to follow you, how to keep an eye on you, and when stuff starts coming out, how to start supporting you, bro. You got that big, awesome Batman piece you're gonna send me. I will be auctioning that off for you. So keep an eye on the page. I'll let everybody know what's up with that whenever I get it, and I can do all that. And there'll be some
Man, I'm gonna send you a nice care box, man. Some personal stuff you keep for yourself.
Well,
No problem.
That's icing on the cake, man. Being able to help out an artist that I respect and that I think is
appreciate you.
The industry really means more to me than any of that. So thank you everybody for sticking with me. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit more and the story got filled out a little bit more. If you have not checked out my video on Ant, I highly recommend it. It is comprehensive. It's like 2 hours long. It's a long piece. Anything that I messed up in that video, anything that I might have had a little bit jacked up, we've addressed tonight. That's why I asked Mario about it. I just want everybody. The reason that I did that video is not about negativity. And the reason that I did this interview is not about negativity. It is not about dragging Erik Larsen or Mario Gully or anyone else through the mud. What it is about is an inspirational story. Mario Gully is living proof that if you have a dream, if you have drive, if you have determination, if you do not give up, there are no barriers that people can put in front of you that you cannot overcome. Does not matter what color you are, does not matter what age, does not matter what sex you are. If you keep pushing, you can achieve it. Mario said it better than I probably could have ever said it myself tonight. God-given talent is one thing. That is a place where you start. It does not take you anywhere. If you do nothing with that talent, it is nothing. It is about honing skills, having drive, putting in that work. So please, if you take anything away from these videos, let it be that you can do what you want. That if you want to do something with your talent, if you want to be whatever it is, push for it. Don't compromise. Don't give up. Be that. Thanks for joining me. I hope you all enjoyed, maybe even learned something. If you did like what you saw, make sure you hit that like button. Think about getting in the comment section below and letting me know. Share these videos with your friends, and if you really enjoyed what you saw, make sure you Hulk smash that subscribe button. If you do that, make sure you ding the little notification bell so you never miss another video or premiere again. If you feel like you're in a position to help the channel grow, think about using the links in the description below to sign up for my Patreon page. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to tons of behind-the-scenes posts, updates, uncut interviews, and other exclusive content, including your name in the credits. If you want to support the channel but Patreon is not your thing, have no fear. There are also links to my Ko-Fi page where you can make one-time donations towards specific goals or just tip the channel, or you can finally use the join button right here on YouTube. That's right, after 2 years of fighting with AdSense, I can finally offer you membership here on YouTube. All you have to do is hit that little join button to make sure you check out the different tiers for the perks that fit you best. If that's not enough, there's also links to an Amazon list that you can use to donate research material for future episodes, as well as equipment that the channel needs, and you can even pick up your very own JerkComic shirts like the ones you see on the screen right now, as well as tons of other merch using the links in the description below. As always, this episode was brought to you by the Jerk Broadcasting System, as well as generous grants from the patrons, Ko-Fi, and YouTube members you see on the screen now. I'd also like to personally thank my loyal Wednesday Warriors, Adam Coburn, Channel 10, Mike Dolan, Super Chasen, David Arroyo, John Utley, Luke Anderson, and Mike Dolan again. You wonderful people make these videos possible, and I cannot thank you enough for the support of this channel. I cannot wait to see where the next year takes this channel with the help of amazing people such as yourselves. Thanks again for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed, maybe even learned something, and as always, I really, truly, and honestly ask only two things. Keep hitting those local shops, and keep reading comics.